What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of your Sports Digest. Starting off the week with a lot to talk about from what happened over the weekend in multiple different sports. And we'll preview what's going on here in the upcoming week. I'm your host, Alex McNinch. Follow us on all of our social medias at Your Sports Digest, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube as well. YourSportsDigest.com for other information and other stuff on there as we kind of transition into the quote-unquote dead part and dog days of the summer, where there aren't really many events going on in sports. It's now trickled down to just baseball here for the next month. So I know it's going to be a tough period for a lot of people to pay attention to sports, get involved, and watch a bunch of different things. But on Your Sports Digest, we won't just be talking about just baseball. We'll be talking about news and storylines and other things to preview for other events and other sports. So just be on the lookout here and stay with me here through the dog days of the summer, because the first thing we'll talk about here real quick is a little housekeeping note. And if you listen to Your Sports Digest back originally when I started everything, years and years ago, God, who knows how many years ago it's been now, like 4 years. When you first started listening, I did the college football season previews for the year, and for every single conference that they had. We've lost a conference in the race, but we're going to be doing the Power Four conferences: ACC, Big Ten, Big 12, SEC. We'll be doing the coverage on all of that. We'll maybe sprinkle in a little bit of the group of fives that should be paid attention to. We'll throw in Notre Dame into the group of five just for easier cleaning issues whenever I'm doing everything. But we'll be starting all of that next week, as we are a month away from college football starting next week. So we'll start with the ACC. So we'll still do a pod each week for news and notes that involve everything in sports, and then the other pod at the end of the week or the beginning of the week. I haven't decided what time we're going to do it yet. The other pod will be the college football preview episode. Those are the ones that got me the most interactions, and a lot of people enjoyed it the last time whenever I was originally doing it. So we'll kick it back off next week with the ACC, and We'll continue to go with the other conferences until we lead up to the beginning of college football and be there for college football season that I know everybody's really excited about. I am too. So, but let's talk about what's happened this weekend, because three major sports have had big games and champions crowned. So let's start off here in the World Cup with the game that everybody was watching yesterday, I would assume. I think the general consensus from yesterday was, the people who don't watch soccer or tune into just the World Cup, kind of me a little bit, but like kind of the people that tuned into just this game because they knew it was the final and it was a big game in the middle of a Sunday. So I think the general consensus was this was so boring. I think overall this game was. It was fine until the 80th minute, and then things started to pick up. You could tell like these teams were really trying to get desperate to score, and ultimately leading into extra time, which Spain was able to knock off Argentina in a 1-0 victory to win their second World Cup in their country's history. Last time they did it was in 2010. Now they get to do it here 16 years later in 2026. There was a lot of chaos, a lot of flopping, a lot of dives taking place, a lot of complaints, yellow cards, a big red card that happened in extra time to Enzo Fernandez, who had his second yellow card. After his first yellow was complaining of the refs. There was a world that he could have gotten a double yellow there for just what he said to the referees. But he makes an aggressive slide tackle in the 92nd minute, sends this guy flipping into air, and gets a red card, is ejected from the game. And that was the moment that Spain realized, all right, we're 11 on 10. We're going to make our push here. And they end up doing so and scoring in the 105th minute of extra time to put the only goal on the board. There were 2 goals that were called off for offsides and fouls. So they really could have been even more than 1-0. But Argentina even had a chance to push there in extra time. They had a couple chances on corners, and ball was loose in front of the net, just skimming over the top of the goal. Like, there were plenty of chances where Argentina could have tied this game up and sent us to a shootout, but Spain was able to hold on. They were the dominant team throughout this tournament, except when they played. Who was it? They played. Was it Cape Verde that they played and lost? I believe that's what it was. So that outside of that game, they've been dominant the entire time with their defense, and deservingly so was able to win. So now we've got the Euros that they were able to win in 2024, and we're able to win the World Cup here in 2026. So we could put a bow on the World Cup by congratulating Spain. Also, want to give a big shout out to Emiliano Martinez, the goalie for Argentina. Was unbelievable this game. The goal that they got was a ricochet right into the striker's position and was able to put it in net. So it wasn't really a goalie issue there. But he set a World Cup record for 11 saves in a game and could have had more than that, even depending on how the game turned out. So shout out to Martinez for putting on a show, and congratulations to Messi as well on an incredible, I guess, international career for him. So I assume that's going to be his last one. There's no way he's making it 4 more years to the next World Cup. So we'll put the bow on it with great moments overall. I guess we can also note that England was able to get third place, beating France. I think it was 6-4 was the final score. They were just blow for blow, bar for bar in shots, and it was chaos every time I would peep the score. But congratulations to Spain getting the World Cup victory. All the other teams and countries were able to be represented pretty well, and I'm hopeful that in 2038 we're able to bring this back to the United States once again for the World Cup, because it was a lot of fun hosting it this time around. So hopefully they can find a way to come back eventually down the road. But yeah, congrats to Spain. And Lamine Yamal is a guy that is going to be a household name for years and years to come. It's very Ronaldo, very Neymar-esque, of very, very young player who gains a lot of attention and is expected to be at the forefront of soccer fandom and soccer greatness for a long time. So congratulations again to Spain as we end the World Cup in 2026 and move on from the international traffic that is going on around the major cities in the United States. I'm sure that certain cities are pretty pumped that they can actually get from place to place now without millions of people being added into the area. But it's great. It was great for our country, and it was great to showcase all the great things that we had. But Sunday was not only a day for the World Cup to have a champion crowned, but the Summer League was able to crown a champion as well on Sunday night, and it was the Golden State Warriors beating my Memphis Grizzlies 94-90. It was a very, very solid game. It was tough back and forth. There were a lot of times where the Grizzlies went on, 8-0, 12-2 runs, and it seemed like they were really about to pull ahead. But every single time they did, they would see Golden State kind of claw back into it. You could tell we were playing with both teams were playing with heavy legs, and it was really just about who wanted it more and who was able to come down to execution at the end. Yaxel Lindenborg ends up winning Summer League MVP, had 21, 10, and 2 in that Summer League championship game, but his opposition in Cam Boozer at 19, 8, and 4 was really solid. Cedric Coward, 19, 6, and 4. So I think if you're the Warriors, you look at this moment and seeing Will Richard and Yaxel Lindenborg being like, okay, these are two guys that are going to help us win this year, especially around Steph Curry. We know what we got with these guys. That's great to see. And if you're the Grizzlies, as a Grizzly fan, I'm taking this as a win. As obviously we would have loved to win Summer League. There's a lot more meaning behind it, especially because the last time the Grizzlies won the Summer League championship, they had Brandon Clark on their roster, and he won the Summer League MVP. So felt like it would have been this very cool full circle moment after his passing this year, and would have been great to be able to win it for him and create this moment to kick off the 2026-27 campaign with a Summer League win for BC, and then being able to carry that into the season with the momentum. But the takeaway from this, if you're a Grizzlies fan, which I assume a lot of you are who listen just based on who I know listens, you're looking at a guy in Cam Boozer. Did he miss the wide open shot at the end of the game that could have put him up for 3? Yes, he did. But I don't want to look at that moment and think of, well, he missed the game-winning shot because he got a strip steal on Lindenborg and got a dunk, but the referee granted a timeout, which happened after the steal was taken away from Lindenborg. We can't get into that. It's Summer League. I'm not going to sit here and complain about referees in Summer League, but it was pretty bad. It was a pretty egregious miss. They missed they missed an illegal screen on Lindenborg when he had 4 fouls. They wanted to keep him in the game. I get it. And then Lindenborg stepped out of bounds on a rebound attempt, which also could have turned over the whole idea of the game and given the Grizzlies an extra possession. But ultimately, in the end, they had a chance to tie it down 3, and Omax Prosper throws maybe one of the worst passes I've ever seen in my life to Boozer. Boozer wasn't ready for it. The action hadn't been set, and he threw it. So, but if you're taking anything away from the Grizzlies for this, it is Cam Boozer looks as advertised, if not even better. Cedric Coward, who struggled a lot, I think earlier on in Vegas Summer League with his efficiency and was just kind of forcing a lot, kind of settled in and was able to get better as the games went on, and you feel confident about him as a two-way player. Coming into this year, Javon Small, who, same thing, struggled early on in Summer League. The past 3 or 4 games has been perfect. Exactly what you want. It's going to be a real conversation in training camp, whether Javon Small or Walter Clayton Jr. get that point guard position in the rotation or the backup or the third string, whatever he'll end up being. I guess it'll be a third string behind Pippen and Jerome, but you look at that and it's like, okay, that's an interesting storyline. And then you get to see, like, Jemai Meshack had a little bit of a development. Carson Cooper was able to show you some stuff, especially last night. He was awesome. So if you're the Grizzlies, you take this moment and realize, okay, we've got something going here. Even Taylor Hendricks looked really, really good. I'd expect him to look really good, but when you don't see him play as much, it's great to see that kind of stuff. But Warriors end up doing it and winning a Summer League title, and it'll be great for Steph Curry here going into his final years of his career, knowing that he's got a rookie that can play alongside him and impact him at a winning level. Lindenborg has just won at the college level, and he's going to win the next level as well with the Summer League. So congrats to the Warriors on winning that one. Also in the NBA, massive trade. Massive trade. If you follow me on my socials, again, at Your Sports Digest everywhere, you would have seen my reaction to this trade. On Sunday afternoon, there was a trade that just popped out of nowhere. I just did some yard work, got out the shower, and looked at my phone, and there it is. Lou Dort, who is a staple of the Oklahoma City Thunder defense and rotation, has been traded to the Atlanta Hawks in exchange for 3 second-round picks. But it's not just that deal. It is a 3-team trade where the Dallas Mavericks are involved. And Ryan Nembhard from Dallas is being sent to Atlanta. And Zachary Risachet, the former first overall pick in 2024, is sent from the Atlanta Hawks to the Dallas Mavericks. Now, I did my reaction and talked about it. The last time that a number 1 overall pick has been traded during his rookie contract was Markelle Fultz when he was traded from the 76ers to the Magic, I believe. I think that's the exact trade. From the 76ers to the Magic. He was on his rookie contract still, and he was traded to the Magic. Then, before that, Anthony Bennett was traded the year after or 2 years after from Cleveland to Minnesota. And then before that, Elton Brand was traded from Philadelphia to Boston to Philadelphia. Can't remember exactly which one it was. I'm blanking really hard on that, but those were the 3 instances in the past 25, 26 years in which a first overall pick has been traded while on his rookie contract over to a different team. And, I mean, Risachet has been very up and down in his career, has never really peaked to anything too much. When he was coming in the draft as the first overall pick out of France, a lot of people were questioning what his translation to the next game is going to be like. Will he be able to shoot the same? Is his body frame going to be able to translate? It just hasn't yet. He hasn't been healthy enough. He hasn't put on enough weight. He hasn't performed at the level that they expected and wanted him to be, because when they drafted him, it was with the idea that DeAndre Hunter's still there, so you add Ricochet into the mix, and you have two really solid wing defenders to play alongside Trae Young and create a 3-and-D wing with him, but they trade away DeAndre Hunter to the Cavaliers, and then Ricochet is kind of forced to be this guy, and he just never ended up being it at all. Then you surround yourself with guys like Dyson Daniels and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Jalen Johnson's a solid defender himself. So you have this group of defenders that you can work with, and Ricochet just never, ever panned out and developed in his 2 years. So I don't want to say it's over for him, but in 2 years it's not good with the Hawks. So a change of scenery going to Dallas might be great for him. He's going to get to play alongside Cooper Flagg and Morris Johnson Jr. and now Kyrie Irving as well. Like you get a group of guys you can kind of get into, and he's a good fit for this team. It would have been an even better fit for when Luka was there, but don't want to rub the salt in the wound on Dallas fans again, even years after the trade. But it's an interesting thing to see the number one overall pick in a draft 2 years ago already gone and sent in a package for Lou Dort and Ryan Nembhard's second-round picks. Like, it just doesn't seem right to me. It's very Anthony Bennett-esque, essentially, thinking that way. But let's talk about the main person in this trade. I know Ricochet is kind of the golden ticket item for whatever part of this trade you want to look at it for, but when you're talking about Atlanta, they've really shaped their identity. We just talked about the guys who are defensively going to be impactful. They drafted Kingston Flemings, who is a great two-way point guard. At his time at Houston and showed some promise here at the end of Summer League, was looking really solid. Now you add Lou Dort in there. You brought in Jonathan Kuminga at the deadline last year. So you're able to have now a cluster of guys. I mean, Kuminga is a free agent. He still might go elsewhere, but you have a cluster of guys now with Daniels and Alexander Walker, most improved player, Jalen Johnson, first-time All-Star, and now you add Lou Dort in there, and you're looking at 4 of your 5 guys being defensive monsters. And if you want to even include Onyeka Okongwu, who is really solid defensively himself as well, not as good as the other guys, but he's a decent defender as well, good shot blocker for his size, but now you have those 5 guys, and you throw them out on the court, and the Knicks are going to struggle a little bit more now against Atlanta, knowing that this is the addition that they've created. Boston the same way. Philadelphia, you've got to be bigger against as well. So I personally have my own opinions about Lou Dort as a player and what he does. I can't really talk much. I get it. I had Dylan Brooks on my basketball team, so I understand. However, I think from a basketball standpoint, to get the amount of defenders that you do on the roster that Atlanta has immediately signals like we have an identity under Quinn Snyder. We have a way we want to play basketball. We have a roster constructed how it's constructed, and it gives you financial flexibility as well for next year if you don't want to keep Lou Dort. If say Lou Dort's not the best fit for the Hawks, and he was better just in a system with the Thunder, because let's be honest, Lou Dort wasn't that good. I don't want to say it wasn't that good. He was always a solid, underrated defender and player, but he didn't rise that next level until Shea went to that next level, and J-Dub was there, and Chet all kind of rose to their potential as well. So Lou Dort just played up to their level of competition. It'll be interesting to see what he will be like on a new team and in a new environment, new system. Let's see if that play translates or not, or will he just be the guy who is known for his dirty tactics and tough defense, but isn't really an offensive player? Because, I mean, you got 2 scorers on that offensive starting 5 now with Jalen Johnson, who can get a bucket at all 3 levels, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who had a breakout year. Is it sustainable? We'll find out. I think it is, but Dyson Daniels can't shoot threes. He can kind of score a little bit, but he has no scoring presence. Lou Dort's an off-the-ball shooter, and then Onyeka Okongwu is sometimes stretches the floor, pick and roll big man. So we'll see what the offense really shapes into for Atlanta with this starting 5, but it'll be interesting no matter what. based on it. And you also have CJ McCollum, too, who can come off the bench and score as well, which is a decent person to have there, especially on the deal that he's been able to get for the next 2 years. So you've kind of got some stability in that case, but it also gives you financial flexibility whether Lou Dort is a good enough piece or not for the Hawks. You lose whatever millions of dollars he has on his cap. I should know this. I'm doing a podcast. It's kind of important, but they lose all that money off their books and can go and try to get somebody in free agency to come over to Atlanta and make a big splash. But it seemed like just when the NBA offseason was kind of winding down a little bit, because we're all just waiting for LeBron to sign at this point to see what's going to happen there. I hope he signs like this week. With my luck, he's literally going to sign the second I put this podcast out. And if so, you'll be seeing this clip on TikTok to tell you that I called it. It's 10 a.m. Central Time. So everybody be ready for your phones once this is posted at 11. So LeBron might be signing as soon as I post this. But once that happens, then more dominoes will fall, more trades will happen. But this was something that needed to happen for Oklahoma City to get under the second apron. It allows you to talk to Cason Wallace, who is willing to go elsewhere and get more money. Talk to him like, hey, you're our defender. You're the guy we want here. It shows them the signs of that. And then for Dallas, you're going to take a flyer on a former first overall pick. Why not? You have the opportunity to do it. Take it. And now Dusty May's got a plethora of versatile players and wings and fours to be able to work with in his first year in Dallas. But I'm sure we'll be doing a podcast at the end of this week talking about where LeBron signed, because I called it a second ago. But NBA kind of winding down in the offseason. We're getting towards the dog days of that as well. No World Cup anymore. So let's talk about baseball. It's going to be the only thing that we're going to be seeing on our TVs for the next month. And it's okay. I know not everybody's a baseball fan. I talk about this every episode. But I'm a diehard baseball fan. I'm a baseball lifer. And my favorite team is currently the best team and the hottest team in baseball at the moment in the Boston Red Sox. They extended their win streak to 13 games. We talked about it last episode. 9 wins in a row coming into the All-Star break, getting out of the All-Star break with a doubleheader against the number one team in your division and in your league in the Tampa Bay Rays. And you win both of those games on Friday in a doubleheader. You'll win Saturday in dramatic comeback fashion with Willie Abreu hitting 2 home runs and the massive one in the 8th inning. And then, or in the 7th, it was 7th or the 8th. I think it was the 7th. And then Sunday, winning a dominant game there against the Rays. You've taken 4 games now on the Tampa Bay Rays, who is the first team in your division and your league. And now they've propelled themselves into a playoff spot solely for themselves. They're not a tiebreaker with anybody. They are sole possession of that 3rd wild card spot. And also, that's 4 games you've gained onto the American League East standings, which is great. But another team in the American League East is currently sneakily also playing incredible baseball, and the Baltimore Orioles, who swept the Astros over the weekend, are on a 7-game winning streak, and they have a chance to come into Boston and play the Red Sox this upcoming week, Monday to Wednesday. So this will be a test of the 2 hottest teams in baseball at the moment, or 2 hottest teams in the American League, I would say, and can see, will the Red Sox be able to extend their win streak, or will the Orioles come in and show, hey, everybody's talking about Boston's win streak. Look at us. Look at what we can do. So it's going to be a great test for both of those teams and a real chance to push themselves into the American League East, especially with the Yankees losing their series this weekend to the Dodgers. There's some ground to be made up for both of those teams, and there's a chance that this week has already propelled them to be able to do so in that case, which is very exciting because, baseball is, again, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but when it's the only thing on, people are going to watch it. And then when you have as tight as a playoff race as you do in both division or in both leagues, it's a lot of fun. I mean, the Marlins got swept this weekend, so by the Brewers, who are playing incredible baseball right now, are a game out from the best record in the MLB. But when the Miami Marlins get swept this weekend, you now look at teams like the Pirates and the Diamondbacks we talked about last week, the Cardinals, the Nationals, and even the Padres, who really didn't even have the best of weekends after losing to the Royals 2 out of 3. But now some of those other teams who are in that wild card race are able to make a name for themselves and kind of create some chaos there at the bottom of the NL wild card. The Phillies ended up losing a couple games. They faced the Dodgers this week. And I think when we talk about the MLB, we got the trade deadline coming up on August 3rd. So we're about a week and a half away. Well, no, that's bad math. Terrible math. We're about 2.5 weeks away from the trade deadline. I guess it's 2 weeks away. Who cares? Honestly, who cares at this point? We'll talk about it when we're a week out. But there's a lot of cool names in the market, a lot of interesting guys, especially maybe some hometown guys here from Memphis on the trade market. And there's a lot of teams that are going to stay put based on the lockout. And there's a lot of teams that are going to be aggressive, realizing this could be their chance with the lockout. And expected lockout. I'm not saying that it's going to be a lockout, but it's going to be like there's a 90% chance we're not playing baseball on time next year. But which is also crazy based on the schedule release that happened this past week. The schedule release came out, and there's going to be a game on March 24th. That is the earliest baseball has ever started. Crazy to me as well. But when we get to that point, we'll see if teams start to waver one way or another based on what the rest of the season is going to look like, where they're at in the standings at that point, and then obviously taking into account of what could be happening next year in 2027. So that's it from all of those sports. I'm trying to check the different news from different sports and stuff to see if I missed anything. Ryan Fox won the Open Championship this past weekend. I really thought that Cameron Young was going to be able to do it. Shout out Winston-Salem. Shout out Wake. Thought he was going to be able to do it. I guess we could talk about the Bryson DeChambeau situation real quick. If for anybody who cares about golf, if you don't care about golf, thanks for listening. But real quick, we'll talk about this because it was making headlines with Bryson DeChambeau gaining a penalty based on the fact of moving his lie. Essentially, he hit a shot into tall grass, and basically he stepped onto the grass, knowing that it would push it down to help with his backswing and not get caught in the taller grass. And he did that, was reviewed upon and given a penalty for doing so. And he obviously had an outrage saying, how was I supposed to know that I was doing that on purpose? It was an accident. I was walking up to my ball. It was simple. Rory McIlroy had a comment on it saying that he didn't like him at all. And, there's no place for that. And we know who he is. And I don't have a relationship with him for that reason, which Rory's got his own stuff going on that we can talk about if need be with how good of a person they are or not. And then I think Scotty Scheffler kind of put it the best way of I don't have an opinion necessarily on it. We saw what happened. It was the ruling. If that's how they viewed it, then it is what it is. But I'm not going to make too much of a deal about it because it didn't affect me personally. And I think with the situation with DeChambeau, he's such a polarizing guy for a lot of reasons, mainly because of his online presence and social media presence, basically for the younger audience or for younger golfers to get into. And I think that puts a spotlight on him compared to the rest. I'm not saying what he did was right or wrong. I'm just saying this from a pure outside looking in standpoint. So already on top of whatever else he brings to the table, there's that. Then add in this idea where, he's complained about the course a couple times. He is complained about, how, certain conditions with this play, and then obviously now this situation, it's become kind of a revolving door for his complaints and his tomfoolery, I guess, if you want to get into different wordplay. But obviously there's no place to come in and put this, I guess, situation or this idea that we were wrong and we're looking at it differently than he did and that he wasn't paying attention, obviously. But you can clearly see what he's doing, and there's no reason to lie. There's no reason to cheat about it. I get it. He was playing the best he's played in in months at this point. We saw him in the Masters, was horrible, but he was playing his best golf that he's played in a while, and I'm sure he was just trying to find a way to get just get a one up on his chance and give himself a better chance throughout the rest of the round, and that derailed everything for him. But my opinion is we could see what he was doing. We could see what he was doing. It was pretty obvious. It's a tough situation to look at. It's a tough situation to talk about, but we could see what he was doing. I don't necessarily side with what Rory says about not liking the guy. I don't have a hate for the guy. I'm more Scotty's side than anything. But, yeah, obviously a situation that was not a good one for Bryson DeChambeau or for golf over the weekend. But, yeah, that's the only thing I guess that we can talk about that's big news. I'm sure there will be stuff throughout the week that will come out, especially since we are in, like I said, the quote-unquote dog days of summer where there's nothing really going on, and there's going to be so many stories and so many narratives and so many different things that are put out there just to get clicks. And if anything is worth talking about, we will talk about it on this episode or on this podcast episode on Friday. But I appreciate you guys all for listening again. I know it's a shorter episode. Could have been a little shorter if I didn't ramble about golf for a minute, but I appreciate you guys for listening. Follow me on all my socials at Your Sports Digest, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube's there for shorts. Share this with a friend that is going to love loves sports, or if they love baseball and they want to hear some talk about baseball, send them my way because we're going to definitely do that. Be prepared for that college football season preview starting next week. We'll be getting that started, so share it with a friend if you know that they want to pay attention to any of that. And I appreciate you guys all for listening. I'll see you guys on Friday.